must agree with Hitler. Like, you know, give me a break. Like,
No, I'm saying he had the same kind of, ideology.
no, but
That he
no.
wanted only his, his race to be the superior race,
No, but I'm
and
not-
everybody else is kind of his
I'm not a supremacist.
chattel or
I
something.
refuse to believe that being a nationalist makes me a supremacist of any kind.
So what is a nationalist?
A nationalist is just someone who believes that the nation state is of paramount importance and that basically all nations are entitled to exist and have full sovereignty.
Okay, so it's got nothing to do with the kind of people in the nation.
Yeah, of course it does.
So why didn't you say that?
So what?
I asked you was a nationalist.
Yeah.
You didn't include that in the definition.
Right, we can talk about then what makes a nation. I'm just saying a nationalist. Basically, allow me to. So there are two sort of variants of nationalism, right? You can have civic nationalism and ethnic nationalism. Now, I don't call myself. I don't like calling myself an ethno-nationalist because that does have connotations of wanting a sort of all-white ethno-state, and I'm not so much on that train. But I'm definitely not a civic nationalist. So an ethnic nationalist is someone who thinks that the state is in some way, or the nation is in some way, racially defined. This is the way it was through all of history.
So you don't believe that?
I agree more with the ethnic nationalists than I do with the civic nationalists.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Civic
so you are an ethno-nationalist.
I'm not an ethno-nationalist. I just agree with
When you agree with an ideology, that means you...
No, hang on a minute. I'm distinguishing between, and you could say this is a sort of pernickety, irrelevant distinction, but I'm distinguishing between ethnic nationalism and ethno-nationalism. Ethno sounds kind of nasty. It sounds more sort of supremacist, Ethnic nationalism,
But it's just semantics, That's probably it is.
Call it what you
But
want.
do you not consider it to be semantics only?
Okay, then let's do away with the semantics and let's just say there are two types of nationalism. One which believes that a nation is racially defined, and one that believes that ideas are all that matter. And I think that people, the ones who think that ideas are all that matter, these are the people who are going to basically just invite foreigners in who actually, turns out, don't share your ideas at all. And so you lose your nation, and you lose your genes, and you lose your ideas.
So basically, what would be your ideal state of this country?
I'm a sort of traditionalist, paleo-conservative type. So I'd like to see a cultural homogeneity maintained. Now, does this mean?
So you would like to see
cultural homogeneity?
Okay, which means anyone other than the white race shouldn't exist here.
No, not exist. I'm not pro ethnic cleansing. I'm not pro.
No, not cleansing in the sense, but at least maybe through immigration.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like to cut immigration.
Yeah. So in other words, anyone who is not white English, you don't want them here.
I would.
In the simplest terms.
No, it's just that I don't want the majority. I mean, I don't want to get rid of them. Otherwise, that's most of my friends gone.
So you don't want them to be the majority, but they are not the majority. They are still the minority.
Okay, right, I'm glad you say that. They will be if current immigration rates continue.
No, if current birth rates continue.
Both. I want to. Fine. If you want to talk about incentivizing the white population to have babies as well, fine. Yes,
yeah, sure. It's raining. Barely raining. Come on.
How can
Oh, you want your?
You mean if they're like French or German or Irish or Norwegian?
What is your view about?
If they're Northwestern European, I guess we could. I'd be fine with some
Yeah, I know.
coming in. But even
No, he wants a majority to be white.
Few black states.
have different colours.
Okay, so sorry, what's the name?
What Norwegians don't? Jacob.
Jacob, I'm Hashim.
Yeah, I've seen your videos.
So basically, you're okay as long as the non-whites are in the minority. You're okay with that? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want them to be like 49% of the country. This
No.
is
Oh
not
yeah,
like
of course.
a supremacist
Let's
idea.
if you.
I think Nigeria should be for the Nigerians, by the way. Like, just in the same way the English should be for the English.
You want England to be what it used to be.
Exactly. That's a lovely way to put it.
What, you mean colonialists?
No, I mean,
Are you one of those people?
So you don't want them to come here, but it's okay for them to go to other countries,
No, I'm not.
steal their wealth,
Okay, hang on.
butcher the people, rape the people.
You want to do?
But as long as this country is okay.
Wait a minute. What about South Africa? What about South Africa? What do you want to say about South Africa?
I think we're all over the place. Let's stick to one topic.
From where?
the people, the whites.
You mean the Dutch, the Afrikaners living in South
But
Africa?
what's wrong?
So many questions,
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong with having a variety of people in your country?
Hang on a minute, can I just respond to your
Yeah,
question?
sure.
Right. So, because this is a very good. I'm happy you said that. Right. You acknowledge, right? There is something, instinctively in you that colonialism is something that is wrong. It is wrong to go into someone's land and to basically, make them either a minority or dominate them when you have no
By
connection
force.
to the culture there.
By force.
Sure.
No. There's a big difference between immigration and by force. So, for example, if somebody invades a foreign country and takes over that country, yes, and not only takes it over, basically sucks all its resources, kills his people, rapes them, basically
Wait a minute.
turn them into chattel, And then
That's not what happened.
well, really? Have you looked into the?
I have actually. So the idea that we
So they just walked into a country and said, "Can we rule you, please?"
Allow me.
And they allowed them,
No,
didn't they?
no. I'm not saying that we deny them sovereignty. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would never.
So what's
I don't
force?
advocate
What's
colonialism.
force involved?
Hang on a minute.
Oh, you don't?
You mentioned resources. Okay. This idea that we plundered the resources from
You did?
colonized nations.
Africa and Asia?
And we made
No,
them
you
poor. That's actually nonsense. That's no, it's not. It comes from a Marxist theory actually called world systems theory, which says there's the core, there's the West, which is endlessly exploiting nations, and then there's the periphery. Always the exploited, unfortunate third worlders, and it's nonsense.
Are you not aware of for example?
No,
you know that
African. Why did colonized countries GDP? Sorry. Why did the GDP of colonized countries go up under colonialism, under colonial rule, and then when decolonization began, GDP just goes whoa, not rising anymore.
No, but they didn't benefit.
Europeans
Wait.
out there
I like the way you put the GDP went up, but who benefited from that GDP?
Not us.
Not you, really?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So wait. You're telling me that the British actually went out, they colonized the country at a loss. Is that what you're saying to me?
I'm not saying they went out to do it a loss. I'm saying it ended up being that way. Of course they didn't go, oh yeah, let's make ourselves poor.
No, but did they benefit from it or not?
I would say very minimally. I would say
Minimally? Really?
basically.
I don't think you've read the history.
I think I have actually.
Okay, so
that's fine.
So what you're saying is
I
that
recommend you look at Alternative Hypothesis blog.
if you look at the East India Company, how it actually ended up becoming.
Okay, the EIC is not Britain. Sorry, I interrupted you. Please.
It's not Britain.
EIC is not.
Where was it based? Where was the headquarters based?
That doesn't matter. It's a
No.
corporation.
Where was their headquarters based?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't. That's like saying.
So let me get this right. So if a company,
hang on, is Google the? Okay, I'll let him talk.
if a company is based and registered in England,
Yes.
it is not an English company.
No, it's not England. I'm not saying.
Ordained by the
It's not England. So where is it? No. Of course, it's not England, but it's an English company.
I know. All I said.
The name itself says East
I said
India.
the EIC is not equivalent, is not tautologically equivalent to the British Empire. That was my.
I didn't say it was the British Empire.
Okay,
It
right.
colluded with the British Empire.
Yes, that's true.
And you're saying that doesn't matter.
I know. I'm saying.
So if you collude with a terrorist, are you not a terrorist?
That depends.
It's a good analogy, do you not think?
It's a reasonable analogy.
It's a realistic analogy because that is exactly what happened during 9/11. You know why
In what
you know
way?
why they invaded Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Because they
I'm
thought
against it.
that Osama bin Laden actually was given shelter by Afghan people.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the reason they had every right to destroy Afghanistan. Just for that reason.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying the East India Company, which colluded with the empire, with the king, and then they actually overtook India. So they went on the pretext of trading with India.
Yeah.
Yes. At that time, India was basically India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. All these countries were one country.
Yeah.
Yes. And then they plundered that country to its bones, basically. And
That's actually not really true, though.
well, you go look it up, and you'll see the reason why. This country, which had the highest GDP before the colonialists came, yes, they actually.
Okay,
Let
sorry.
me finish.
Let
Let
me
me finish.
finish. I apologize.
And by the time they left, they had actually plundered the country to such an extent that they are suffering to this day for what happened to them during the colonialist period.
Okay.
Now, the people of India did suffer. Do you not agree?
Of course
Yes,
they did. No one denies that.
Yes, and under the British rule, yes, they did so. So this colonialism is a very bad thing. It is not something that I'm not saying the countries did not benefit from it. Of course, there was some benefit, yes, but I think they lost more than they benefited. For example,
You could argue that.
the benefits I say is like maybe they had this transport system, postal system, education system. These things were instilled, and I think they still are proud of those. So if you go to India and places like that, they're still proud of their Victorian schools and so on.
It's the railways that everyone like me makes the argument.
But that was a good thing that happened
Yeah.
because of. But do you know why those things were there in the first place? It was to benefit the Raj.
Yes,
So the
yes.
postal system benefited the Raj, the transportation system, and also the education system. However, the majority of the people who lived in poverty, who were impoverished by the Raj. Yes, I think their progeny is still suffering to this day because of what happened to them. during the Raj. Now you tell me which of what I just said you disagree with.
All right. There was a lot of. Okay. So, thank you. So I apologize for interrupting you.
No, that's fine.
So all right. So the claim, just because you quickly said the first thing about GDP, which GDP was so high before before the Raj.
Yeah, it was.
And then it just goes down. That's actually only sort of half true. So GDP as a percentage of the world, like proportion of world GDP, was much higher before percentage
of
world
India.
GDP. Of India before colonization. Okay. What you're not taking into account is that actually other world economies, so like it still grew, okay? Like as a proportion of the world GDP, it shrunk. But as GDP, like as an absolute, it still increased. So the reason it went down as a proportion is because the Japanese economy went like that, and the Chinese economy went like that, and European economies were still, shooting up. So India becomes less proportionately of world GDP, not because they got done over by Britain, but just because loads of other global economies were doing much better, right? Is that fair to say?
No, it's not, because the manufacturing did not take place. For example, cotton was produced in India.
Okay.
Yes, most of the cotton was actually exported to Britain. So the clothes were manufactured and then sold back to the Indians at a much higher price. So instead of benefiting the people, like, the reason I'm using colonialism, because
I'm glad you are.
Because before, the Muslims, before the United Nations, the Muslims used to conquer countries as well. Yes, so I'm not saying that it was only the prerogative, it was only something that the British were involved in. Many other nations, yes, they used to go and they used to take over
and that's how it was. That's how it works.
Exactly, that was the norm. That was the norm.
Mohammed Hijab put this in a really nice way. He said this existed in a sort of climate of what international relations scholars call realism. This is the realism, the realists' paradigm of how global.
So if you were stronger than another country, they would just take a flag and hoist it in that country, and they say, "That's mine."
Yeah, mine was dialogue.
Yes. However, if you look at the history wherever Muslims went, that country actually prospered. So
I'm saying the same for the
So
British.
when they went to Spain or when they went to India, it actually prospered, and they did not take things back to that country to benefit their country.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So this was when you look at history, this is what I see. But when you look at wherever the Europeans went, whether it's the Portuguese or the Spanish or the English, yes, they actually completely sucked most of the resources of those countries, and they did not benefit much the local communities, and they destroyed look at most of Africa and Asia today. The reason they were impoverished is because the resources.
No, that's not true.
Africa and Asia, they have got really good resources in terms of like gold and diamond and minerals and iron ore, everything.
They're also genetically different from us.
What's that going to do with this?
Wait, are you one of those people who
Are they humans?
If it hasn't been to of course they're humans.
So how are they genetically different?
What do you mean? How are black people genetically different from white people?
What, they got more melanin?
Yeah.
Than you.
Okay.
How is that genetically different? Do they have same genes or different genes?
Wait, you think that skin differences in skin color, you don't think that's genetic?
No, I'm saying in terms of being a human, how does it differentiate them?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Like you are a human, a black man is a human.
Oh no, of course it doesn't make. Of course, the skin pigmentation.
Okay, so what do you mean? Why did you bring genetically different? Just by skin pigmentation? That's it?
No, it's obvious. I'm saying that's one example of a genetic difference.
Are you one of those people who consider black people to be less intelligent than you?
I think that there are IQ differences between racial groups. Of course, not all black people. That's a stupid thing. Thomas Sowell is smarter than me. Okay, Neil deGrasse Tyson is smarter than me.
Okay.
Plenty of white people are stupider than plenty of black people.
I'm glad you say that.
Of course. Okay. Yeah.
So let's not discriminate them based on their genes, because
that's not discrimination. I'm sorry.
Even the skin color.
I'm not discriminating against any. Well, okay, discrimination is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, you discriminate every time. You discriminate on who you wish to talk to. I've discriminated.
I don't actually.
No, yes you do. I discriminated against everyone else right now in favour of talking to you because I could be talking to someone over there.
Yeah, but you did it by volition. I didn't force you, did I?
No, I'm not saying it's forced. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Okay. So I wouldn't. By the way,
discrimination.
By the way, choosing your interlocutor is not something I consider as discrimination. It's a choice, not based on your skin color or that you are of a different culture. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Discrimination actually implies that.
No, it doesn't.
If I choose to talk to
connotations today.
For example, if I choose not to talk to someone who's obnoxious, would you consider that discrimination?
Yes.
Well,
that's like, in a good way. I wouldn't.
How can it be discrimination if I don't want to talk to a fool?
Of course, because you discriminate against people who are less intelligent. Why would you not?
No. A fool necessarily, not less
fine,
intelligent.
a fool, yeah,
okay?
okay,
He might be obnoxious for many other reasons.
I'll give you that.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I discriminate against people, against unpleasant people every
Exactly.
day. Everyone
But I
does.
wouldn't use the term discrimination.
I would. I guess that's a semantic difference.
It's basically your choice to speak to someone that you feel comfortable with. That's all it is.
For me, that's
it's
what
not discrimination.
Okay, for me, I think we're defining discrimination.
Discrimination is like, for example, if it's something prejudicial, then I would consider that to be discriminatory. Now, if you do not have any logical reason to talk to someone, then that would be discriminatory.
Yeah.
Yes? But I wouldn't consider not talking to someone who is obnoxious or who basically swears all the time, or who might be smoking in front of me when I don't like someone smoking in front of me, or blowing smoke in my face or something like that. I wouldn't call that discrimination.
I would. And in fact, you say, oh, I wouldn't. I think
then we differ in our
we're differing in our semantics. But I also say the same about prejudice. Okay,
yeah.
I think that prejudice.
Anyway, sorry, where were we?
Prejudice is not a bad thing, you know. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So
what about
you brought this up because I mentioned jeans, and I just said
Yeah.
it's not a racist thing to say that. Of course, different cultures are like different peoples with different genes are going to build different cultures. Of course they are. Like, why would you have any reason to think otherwise? Why would you have any reason to think that Africans?
But isn't that positive? Let's say you bring all these good things in a different cultures and then you work together. Wouldn't that be something better?
In the same country, in the
In
same
country.
No,
Might be in the same city.
No, I don't want that.
And why is that?
Well, look at London.
What's wrong with London?
London,
Look at the NHS.
The native.
How many white people run it?
What do you mean? Look at the NHS.
What I'm saying is that if you remove all the ethnic minorities from there, the NHS will probably collapse. And so is the transport system here.
Yes, I think the NHS
What I'm
could
saying
do
is
with a
that
lot of reforming.
the NHS and the transport system here, and many other systems in this country, I think they work quite well when we integrate all the different cultures together. They bring in their own specialities, they bring in their own variety, I would say, and that is a good thing.
I think it's not. So let me just clarify. Nobody.
Don't forget the restaurants. The English people love the Indian curry.
The food. Multiculturalism. We can have curry while our culture's dying.
How many days? How many days are you going to have fish and chips for? By the way, do you like curry?
I love curry.
There you go.
Back to topic.
Yeah, sorry. So I should just say, nobody in the nationalist movement that I know of denies that, like, foreign people or foreign-born people, work hard.
Are you a nationalist?
No, not only work hard, bring benefit to the system.
Some do, not all.
What do you mean some? I would say the same thing with the English people then.
Yeah,
some English people benefit, some don't.
I would say
like this about every person.
Okay, so I would say, so regarding colonialism, generally the trend is.
Are we going back to colonialism?
Just briefly. Economic benefit, psychologically awful. Okay, because you're robbing.
Whoa. Not just psychologically, physically. They were tortured during the slavery period. Okay.
I would say that ultimately.
They used to take boatloads of people from Africa all over the world, and you don't just say psychologically, my friend.
Fine,
okay?
physically. I'm not trying to downplay. I'm just saying
but you did actually. You did downplay. You tried to whitewash it.
I didn't try to whitewash it. That's
okay. Slavery was bad.
Whitewash. Right. Yeah. No. I'm saying ultimately, when you torture someone, you beat them. Why is that bad? It's because it has ultimately. I guess you could distinguish between.
All I'm saying is that what's wrong with working together? That's all I'm saying. What's wrong with working together?
What's wrong with working together with everyone in their own lands? What's wrong with trading between people? What's wrong with working together?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Trading with people, working together. I'm saying why not work together in the same geographic location?
Because if we
now that globalization has gone global, why not?
Because why? Because if we carry on working together at the same rate that we currently are, then soon enough there's going to be no more English people who will be able to work to offer what they
breed more babies.
Good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Good point.
Absolutely.
The Greek has got a good point.
By the way, I don't have anything against any foreign person. I blame my own government completely.
No. Why
it's not
only
a prejudice for
baby
breeding?
No. Why?
No, for birth rate.
So you're saying English people who decide to have only maybe 2 children or 1 child, do you think that's the government's fault? How?
That's I should say not the current government's fault. I should say
even the past government. How is that fault?
I would say.
Did somebody force them to do that?
Not forced, but I would say, for example, the introduction of no-fault divorce in the 1960s.
Sorry, no-fault
divorce. Yeah, because people when you're married and especially when you're religious.
Is that a thing? You can divorce someone for no fault of this?
It's more of a legal term. It's just one example. I'm saying.
No, but I'm asking. Is that a literal thing or?
Essentially it makes divorce a much easier thing to.
Yeah, but you cannot just go to the court of law and say I want a divorce and I give no reason. I think they have to give a reason, right? At least a reasonable reason.
It's more okay. That's like an extreme version of it, but it's much easier than it was before.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Measures like that, which are basically also the kind of, I would say, the kind of attack on Christianity culturally. It's as people have strived to make
Christianity doesn't let you divorce at all, unless you committed adultery.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying.
Do you agree with that?
It depends how you interpret Christianity. I'm not here to have a theological.
No, but you believe in the Bible, right?
Sort of.
So you're not a Christian then?
Well,
yes, sort of.
You can call me what you want. I don't care.
No, I don't want to call you anything. I want you to define yourself.
I'm just somebody who believes.
Are you a Christian, sir?
I'm someone who believes that there is a higher being that we call God, and I believe that the Christian conception of that is one of the most reasonable ways to interpret that. And I like the fact that my culture is historically Christian, but I also recognise the contributions that pagan culture has given us as well. And I have the deepest respect for people who have a conception of.
No, it's not about defining other people. I'm asking, how do you define yourself?
I define myself as a weird sort of fusion, a weird sort of fusion, a blend of kind of Christianity and paganism.
All right.
That's the short answer. Okay. Many of us, struggle with religious issues.
No. If you're not sure about yours, if you're not
in ourselves like you Muslims.
No. There are many Muslims who might be confused as well.
True.
But most of them at least know the basics. Like for example, if you do not worship one God.
Basics.
And you submit to one God, or you basically commit shirk, like you associate others with God. This basic they know. Okay, so when I know the. So when I ask someone, "Are you a Muslim?" and they say yes, and then I say, "Hold on, but you also believe in Jesus to be God," then I don't consider you, but based on the rule of the Quran, that you are a Muslim because you just contradicted the Quran.
Sure, but
I'm sure the Christians will judge you in the same way.
They will, absolutely will. I'm sure.
That's the reason I asked you. What do you think?
I'm sure I'm a complete heretic, going to hell in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Okay.
All right. The Catholics are under the kettle of fish, but when you talk about cultural diversity, I see there is a lot of benefit.
Okay.
We can benefit from each other, and this has happened throughout.
Cultural diversity.
Yeah, we have seen this everywhere around the world today. Yes, so you go to any country. I think most of them today, the reason they have come to accepting cultural diversity as opposed to having just a mono ethnicity.
Okay.
Yes.
Most cultures that aren't most non-European countries are actually not reaping the benefits of multiculturalism right now. Why? Because they prefer to have their own country for their own people.
I'll give you one country.
Okay.
Singapore.
Sure, you can. I'm not saying everyone.
I think they've benefited a lot. This is a country, small country, and so you don't say there's no countries. There are many examples I can give you.
I'm sure.
But
you could give a dozen now. I'm saying.
So you give me a country which has benefited just by excluding anyone except their own ethnicity. Go on. I've given you one. You give me one.
Well, it's not quite like this. But
why not? You should be able to give me at least one example.
I will, but sort of Israel, like.
What? Israel has cultural diversity?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Cultural diversity.
No, but they do.
Yeah.
Look, the Jews, they might be a race, yes, but they come from Russia, they come from all different places in the world. So don't say it's just the Jews in Israel.
No, but they are.
In fact, the Jews in Israel are probably a minority.
Okay.
The original ethnic.
I disagree with you saying that some Jews are Russian. That's
not some,
really.
Loads.
No,
they come from Ukraine, from Russia. You probably know.
I think if you're Jewish, you are really Israeli. You might have family that have settled in Russia or Britain or America or Germany.
Let's define the term Jewish. Are you talking racially?
There's different kinds
So there are atheists. There are atheist Jews as well.
Yeah,
yes, you know that.
Of course.
Now,
Karl Marx was one.
Now wait a minute. What do you mean by they have benefited? How?
So who benefited? Sorry,
Israel. Because you gave that as an example.
How have Israel benefited from
it's in a state of war today. How is it benefited them?
Okay, it's in a state of war because it's still a very young country and people are still pissed off with the way that they got hold of that country. But I'm saying they have.
When was it formed?
When was it re-established? In 1948.
Yeah. When was Pakistan established?
Same year.
Same time, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And is Pakistan in a state of war?
It's not in a state of war, but it's hardly a harmonious little paradise right now.
Any country, I mean, harmony is like subjective now. Okay. There's tension. I'm not saying there's no tension. There's tension between here and Ireland for some time. Does it make it in a state of war?
No,
it's not.
I don't think it's comparable.
Really, like the IRA coming here and causing a lot of terrorism.
Yes.
I don't think there was any tension. Seriously.
No one's saying it that there's no tension.
Well, have you been to Pakistan, my friend?
No, I haven't.
Well, maybe you should visit it sometime. Okay. Anyway, I'm saying there are many countries out there which are what you say, young countries, and they are actually quite well off. In terms in terms, not only in terms of monetary or financially, I mean in terms of diversity, in terms of as successful countries, there are quite a few. Look up countries which have formed after that.
That's fine. Okay, let me.
But anyway, Israel was a bad example. Any other country?
No, wait, hang on. Let me turn to the example of a culture, an old country which is, multicultural. Because the United States, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's I guess a young country on sort of global standards, right?
Still raining, yeah.
But yeah, interesting. So you could say, oh, look at America. They're like,
America is what? 250
250
years old. How old is it?
76 was when it was founded, right? So
something, not that old.
So you could say, oh, look at America. America has people coming, from all over the world, right? It's got people. Yeah. You can go there.
Have they not benefited?
Land of the free. Well, okay. So here's the interesting thing. Let me say this, right? So are they doing amazingly right now? Are they? I mean, they're a global superpower.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. But if you look actually at the net budget effects of people who are not the original, sort of European settlers, it actually. Do you know how they'd be hundreds of billions of dollars richer if they basically didn't have a bunch of migrant leeches or children.
Hold on. Those Europeans were migrant leeches.
So we're playing this game. Okay, we're playing this game. Lovely.
Who does America belong to? Before the Europeans came there as colonialists.
Okay. I'm very glad you say this.
Yeah. Who did it belong to?
Let me.
And where are they today? You remember the example I gave you that wherever they go, they don't benefit the local people because the Native Americans have actually literally been wiped out. Yes, the same thing happened in Australia.
Same
thing happened in Australia.
No, they haven't.
Yes, the ethnic minority they became the minority.
Okay, you just said they've been literally wiped out. They haven't literally wiped out.
When I say literally means they became the minority in their own country.
Okay, no, you said literally wiped out, implying it was.
So what you're suggesting shouldn't happen to your country, you actually did to other countries.
Okay, no, there is a.
When I say you, I mean Europeans.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Okay, right. There is a difference between arriving in a piece of land where people have not.
I like the way you said arriving.
Hang on. Fine, settling, colonizing.
Oh, they just came peacefully on a boat.
Okay, most of them
with roses.
Actually, most interactions.
With a peace pipe.
Most interactions were peaceful, actually, but fine. Okay, right, fine. Call it colonizing. Call it violently. I don't know. Whatever. War.
Why the natives not killed?
Of course,
in big numbers.
Of course.
In millions.
In big numbers.
No, not diseases. They brought the diseases.
In big numbers.
They brought the diseases as well.
In big numbers, but not as big numbers as everyone likes to say. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that.
Because people say, oh, it was a Native American genocide. Why then did the population only decline by 0.22% each year? Okay, that sounds like a genocide to me.
Wait. You're saying that these people, they came there peacefully? They grabbed the land?
No,
and they just settled there?
I said many. I'm not sure about most. I don't have the data to say that. I'm saying many interactions were peaceful. Now there were individual
many interactions, but most were not peaceful.
I'm not sure if you could say most.
I would say most.
I'd have to check that.
The fact that the Native Americans today are a minority in their own continent, I would say continent, because both North America and South America, both of them, they did not have a white European race existing before they were colonized. Do you agree with that?
Ish.
What do you mean if it's?
Right. So you're saying.
So you're saying they existed before? No, I'm not talking about wipe out here. I'm just asking in terms of population.
Yes.
Were the white Europeans there before they colonized those countries?
Well, actually, the salutarian hypothesis says that they might have been.
But I don't want might be. I want facts.
I don't care.
I want facts.
That's what a hypothesis is.
No, don't give me speculations. Give me facts.
Well, I can't. Some people have a hypothesis that they weren't. Some people have the hypothesis.
Well, many people have hypotheses that are lizards walking amongst us.
Yeah, I know. So,
I'm going to believe that. Don't give me speculations. Give me facts.
You're giving me speculation as well.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're saying maybe white people were never in America. Until they came.
I said about the numbers. Remember?
I don't know.
In numbers, they were not really. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody settled before Columbus came there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the Arabs went there because there are many Arabs who claim that they actually went to South America and to North America as well. Well, you can't say obviously. That is their theory.
No, I can because if you look at the salutarian hypothesis and you look at the evidence that it has.
Hypothesis. Give me facts, bro. We are not talking about science theories here. We're talking about history.
I wonder
history cannot be just hypothesis. When you have history, give me facts.
Do you understand that you can apply the scientific method to history?
You can, but speculation.
Of course, but you could broaden the definition to speculation and say that you could say that the idea that the Earth is round.
Why are you arguing about a point which is quite clear that before the Europeans came there, before they came to North and South America, they were even if I accept your hypothesis,
Okay, fine.
they probably were a small fraction, a small minority
I'm
in
saying
those
I don't know. I'm
continents.
saying I don't know.
Okay, anyway.
In fairness, I didn't come here,
Yeah.
prepared
So,
for debate. Okay,
they were
yeah.
colonialists there. They came as colonialists, and that's fact.
Sure.
And the local population was almost wiped out. Okay, I wouldn't say all of them, but almost wiped out.
Yeah.
And the reason that
Largely
happened is
through disease.
because of violence that they brought along,
Okay.
and the diseases they brought along with them.
Mostly diseases, and also
Who brought the diseases?
Of course, us.
Exactly.
Let's not forget the tribes killing each other as well. Okay.
No, look.
It's not like they were all living peacefully. And then,
I didn't say they were.
then
Did
the
I say
evil
that?
European showed up.
That's a straw man argument. I never said that.
No, I'm
Every
saying
every
that's something
country
you
have their
didn't
own
say. It's not a
internal
straw man. It's
problems,
not a straw man.
but it doesn't mean you go and occupy that land and then wipe out the local
Sure,
population
right, okay.
just because you can go and thrive in there. By the way, what was the point you made that we came there?
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
so there is a difference, right, between fine. You want to say violently settling, okay?
Colonizing. Use the term. Use the correct term. Colonizing.
I think the
It's
correct
literally
term is
colonizing.
Arriving is not an incorrect term. They arrived. There's a difference between arriving in a
Colonizing.
geographic territory, okay, right, where states, form.
Why
states
the
have not
euphemism?
been-
I don't know why.
It's not a euphemism.
It is arriving when they colonize them
Because-
by force.
They arrived. Did they not land in boats?
Yes,
okay,
they did
from America?
for a purpose. They went there with an army for a purpose.
Okay.
So imagine this: if a country, let's say Malta, tomorrow comes here with a shipload of soldiers, would
Yeah.
you say they're arriving to England?
I would say, yeah. In a way, they are.
I hope the immigration officers agree with you.
I say that about when immigrants come here. I say foreigners are arriving in our land, okay, and
With
making
an
it
army. Did you not hear what I said?
It's kind of an invasion right now, but
Seriously, you're not serious about it. If
do you know what's happening in Greece
if
right
they
now?
came with an army, it would be an invasion, literally.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah.
So don't just say arriving. They invaded or they colonized.
okay, but this is
That's
not,
a better term.
Okay, no, but this is not an invasion, though.
Which one?
The America. That's not an invasion.
So they didn't come with boatloads of soldiers.
it's not an invasion.
Did they come with soldiers or not?
They came. Yes, they would have had
For what?
with them.
To have a tea party in America?
Not for an invasion.
Then for what? Then?
I know what you're trying to do.
Well, I know for what they came, and everybody knows.
Yes, to colonize
This is
them.
axiomatic
I'm saying
in the
you need to
the
draw
history
a
of
dichotomy
colonialism.
between colonization and an invasion. Anyway, my point, if
Yeah.
I could make it before
Please
we get
do, yeah.
caught up on any more semantics. So there is a difference, and I'm going to just use his words so that we can settle this again.
Colonizing.
And think of this just so that you can not accuse me of downplaying. Think of the most violent word. There's a difference between colonizing or invading or massacring or whatever, between coming onto and colonizing, land, a geographical territory, right,
With an army.
where it's not really an army, but fine. Okay, where a formal nation state has not been established. Okay, there's a difference between that and arriving. Arriving again. I'm not down.
What do you mean formal nation state?
Okay, we can discuss nation
Are you
state.
saying it wasn't the United States of America at that time?
No.
Then what do you mean formal nation
I'm
state?
saying they didn't
These
they
people
didn't
who
form
were
states.
there. These people who were there, they had a sovereign land, they had a sovereign country.
Didn't. No, they didn't.
They might not have labeled it as you wished, but they
It's not as
severally.
it's not to do with what I wish. They
Their-
didn't have sovereignty.
their territories
They
were-
weren't sedentary. They moved around. It's not. They didn't have the concept of this is our country. We're going to. These are our borders. We're going to protect them. They didn't think like that. Well,
Oh,
they
man.
because they existed in the land. Just that's what the native population is. Yeah. Okay. Of course they stay within the North America because they can't go out to sea. I'm saying they move around with it. They don't have settled just in the same way that we don't call I guess you could say Europeans all natives of the same country.
I think you're trying to somehow, this is anachronistic because you're trying to think that these people should have been like the United Nations
I'm not
of
saying
states.
that. No, I'm not saying
the United Nations has established clear borders between countries. This is kind of anachronistic from your.
I'm against the UN, so I'm not playing by their rules.
So are you some sort of non-compliant citizen? Because if you're against the United Nations, then you must be against many other things in this country itself.
I'm against many.
Are you against the government here?
In a way, yeah.
So you have a problem with authority, isn't it?
No, I like authority. I just think that we.
So who do you think should be the authority in this country, if not the current government?
There's many. I couldn't say.
Is there another can of fish I opened up?
No.
Another can of worms for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's another can of worms.
Okay.
It's a government that would enforce traditional values and conservatism much better than this so-called conservative.
Someone
party.
like Tommy Robinson.
No, Tommy Robinson. No, Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson are liberals, really. I like them. I do. I've got nothing against Tommy Robinson. Okay, I think he's a.
Would you consider him to be your leader?
No, not my leader. No, I disagree. So Tommy Robinson.
What would you disagree with his? Because your ideology kind of matches with.
No, it doesn't. Tommy Robinson.
Well, not completely. Kind of.
Actually, not. I support Tommy because he's still a patriot, and I still think he's done amazing work for this country. But he's a liberal. I'm not. I'm a conservative. Okay.
He's not.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
He's not. Tommy Robinson is more. He's not talking about other English movie guys. He only talks about Islam. He doesn't talk about. He doesn't talk about. See that debate?
Yeah, he's kind of. That's
well. I'm sure if I ask him, are you anti-Islam? He'd probably say yes as well.
I essentially, yeah.
See what I mean?
I'm against Islam.
If he was a patriot,
Why?
yeah. Hold on.
Well,
If he
that
was
was your original.
if he was a patriot, he would have talked about English issues, wouldn't he?
Sorry, I still.
I said, if he was a patriot, he would have talked about English issues, isn't it?
Yeah, he is kind of a one-issue
But he's
guy.
not. He's only talking about Islam. That's it.
Right, but that's his thing. That's like saying, oh, the Brexit Party only focuses on Brexit and not housing. It's like, yeah, that's the reason for his.
Actually, a Brexit party should focus on Brexit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And Islamophobe will basically be anti-Islam.
I disagree with the word Islamophobe.
That's fine. You can disagree with many things. You disagree with the government of this country, so I'm not surprised you're against Islam and the term Islamophobe as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, have you read the Quran anytime?
I'm in the process of reading it.
But what do you remember from what you read?
It's a meaningful book. It has. To me, it largely just serves as a sort of.
Does it speak to you?
Does it speak to me?
Yeah.
Not in the sense that you mean it.
Okay, so what is it that you have found so far from what you read to be contrary to your, let's say, to your principles?
So I don't like that it's inherently expansionist, basically, and that it's.
There's nothing like that in the Quran. Carry on.
Right. Okay. See, we're gonna do a.
No, because it looks like you haven't read the Quran. Because many people make this claim that they've read the Quran, but then when I ask them, what do you remember from what you read?
Excuse me, I didn't claim that. Okay.
No, you said you're in the process, which means you must have read something.
Okay. The vast majority of the Quran is unread by me.
Okay.
There you go.
What have you read that you remember? Go on. What have you read?
I'm not a Muslim. I can't just.
I didn't say you were.
I can't do it. I can't do it with Bible verses either. If you can't say, what have you read in?
No, but
the
you
Bible? I can't just recite, the gospel.
No, I'm not saying you recited basically word to word.
Yeah.
Just paraphrase to me.
Okay. So,
what do you remember?
Okay. So for example, and I'm sure. Look, I didn't want to do theology because I'm sure you've got a little.
Not theology. I just want to know because many people hate Islam without even reading about Islam.
I don't hate Islam.
Maybe you said you were anti-Islam.
Of course, I'm anti-Islamic. That doesn't mean I hate Islam.
Okay, what does anti mean? So if I'm,
it means I oppose something.
If you oppose.
I oppose.
Okay, so
I
what
oppose Theresa May. That doesn't mean I hate her.
Okay, so you're anti-government.
I'm anti this government. I'm not anti.
Yeah, that's what I meant. This government.
Yeah, this government. Yeah, that doesn't mean I hate Boris Johnson. I want to see him dead.
What kind of a patriot hates his own country?
I don't hate my country. What?
Sorry,
hang on.
Hates his government. Because by the way, you know why I said this government? Because this government was elected democratically by majority of the people.
I just said I didn't. I said I'm anti this government, and now you're reframing that to say that I hated it. Please stop.
I apologize because that wasn't the right term. What I meant is like the government was elected democratically. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, which means the majority elected the government.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so in other words, you're against against the feeling and the belief of majority of the country.
I'm against pluralism. That's what I am. Okay.
What's that going to do with electing the government?
Because democracy.
Last time I checked, they were pretty English to me.
This is such a like.
No, I really want to know why would you oppose a government which majority of the country feels that is the right government?
It's okay. For one, it's not the majority of the country. Okay, it's the majority of the electorate, right?
Electorate still.
Sense? Yeah. Right. So
okay,
I will say I actually did vote Conservative. Okay, and so I oppose them now in many metrics, but I voted them because I wanted to see Boris get Brexit done. Right. So now, do you understand that I can basically want to see a government come into power and then be disappointed when they do other things that I disagree with? Is that fair?
I mean, look, you have every right to oppose the principles of the government, whatever they have. But for you to say that just because they do not agree with your ideology, that you want the ethnic majority to be white English, yes, for that reason itself, I don't think many English people actually would agree with.
It's not for that reason. It's for that reason. We're probably.
You probably are the minority in that.
I probably am the minority, of course.
Not probably, definitely. I would say.
But I'm saying it could be anything. I'm saying like it could be housing policy. It could be environment. Like it could be all manner of things. It could be how Boris is handling the coronavirus, for example. You know, like.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid.
Right, but did you see?
Herd,
I'm not saying.
what do you say? What's the term they use? Herd immunity.
Are going to die.
Yeah, herd immunity. So basically, you just watch people die until they develop immunity, which is herd immunity kind of. That's silly, you know, because
he's a funny character.
the reason is we do not even have this natural resistance to this virus, the coronavirus. How will you gain immunity? Yes, it takes I don't know how long. And he's saying it's okay. We might have to watch many people die, many of our loved ones die. I mean, that is barbaric, if you ask me. But yeah, I'm against that that principle of his.
Yeah.
But anyway, look, we digress.
That doesn't mean like you said. What sort of a patriot disagrees with his government? Okay, it's like well.
So from the past governments,
doesn't mean I love my country.
From the past governments, have you agreed with anyone?
From what? Oh, ever since our first
Well, ever since you were.
Oh,
ever since you got the right to vote.
Well, I'm only 18, so.
You haven't got the right yet.
Well, so I voted once in the last general election and once in the European elections in May. So
Fine, okay.
I haven't really.
So let's say in the last I don't know how many years since you have been aware of the political system.
I guess.
3 years, 4 years? I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know. Is there any government that I've agreed with completely?
Or at least the nearest to which
the nearest was when I was a bit more definitely when I was more liberal and I kind of liked Gerard Baten's UKIP, I suppose.
UKIP.
Yeah, they're not a government, I should say.
What, Nigel?
No, Batten.
Nigel Farage.
No, Batten.
Oh, I see.
Gerard Batten.
Wasn't Nigel Farage the?
Nigel Farage. Well, yeah, he's the face. He was the
exactly.
Face
Yeah. He's who made UKIP famous.
Yeah.
In the first place.
In fact, he doesn't like Gerard Batten.
Just like EDL was made famous by Tommy Robinson.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, if that's your belief.
Sorry.
Is he still Batten? Is he still the?
No, I don't think Batten's the leader anymore. No, it's a guy. Do you know what? I don't know who it is anymore. I'm not such a big on the UKIP train these days. I still support them broadly as a party, but I don't keep up with them.
Okay. So anyway, going back to the question I was asking, what made you anti-Islam? Was it because of what you heard from other people, or was it something that you independently researched?
So I would say probably a mixture. But well, okay, probably just because I'm predisposed to be that anyway. So I actually started off like I used to be a kind of quite a hardcore atheist, we should say, for many years. I'm not so sort of on the atheist train.
I think you probably. I wouldn't call you a Christian from what you described.
I certainly wouldn't call myself an atheist.
Yeah, you do believe in God.
Yeah, I believe in God.
Yeah, so
I believe that a Christian conception of God is valid and meaningful, and I believe a pagan conception of God is valid and meaningful.
That's contradictory.
I don't think it is.
It is.
That's fine.
Okay, because Christian concept of God is not pagan in, well, you might have a point there, I don't know. Because the Greeks, they do have a lot of influence from the Greeks. So yes, I suppose you do have a point there. But anyway, we digress. I was asking about feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, that you probably, it is from hearsay, not your own independent research.
I would say mixture.
I would say maybe 90% hearsay and maybe I'm giving you 10%. I'm feeling charitable here. What have you read from?
Everyone likes to say like.
Okay, let me say.
I independent. I research
No.
everything.
That's why I asked you. What have you read about Islam from only Islamic authors? Let's say.
See, that's just.
If it's not the Quran, it looks like not the Quran.
Only Islamic.
No, but it has to be. It has to be. Because if you, for example, if I know.
Why can I not formulate an anti-Islamic opinion?
No, you can. You can after you've read it. You can. But if you haven't read the sources. And then you say this is what I judge Islam based on, then that is from hearsay. It's not from his primary sources, is it?
Hashim, allow me to. So I don't have to have read Islamic scholars in order to read, surveys and see the impact of what Islamic behaviour is having on society.
No, I'm talking about theology.
Sorry?
I'm talking about theology.
I'm
not talking about
no, you didn't say Islamic theology. You didn't say why you
I said Islamic. When I say Islamic sources, I thought it was clear, but let me clarify again.
Okay.
So what I meant is like when knowing Islam, yes, based on what Islam defines it, rather than what others say about Islam.
That's fine.
So that's the reason I'm asking you. What have you read from about Islam from Muslims? Yes, not even, let's say, not even a scholar, but what have you read that is purely define Islam by the Muslims, rather than it being defined by somebody else.
What do you mean? How Muslims define Islam? Like I don't.
Like every religion.
Your original question was why am I anti-Islam?
Yeah.
And it stemmed because you're saying, oh, is it to do with independent research? Yes, it's to do with independent research, but not on theology. It's to do with the behaviour of Muslims in society. And you could say, oh, that's not what I asked. I'm talking about theology, but that is a valid reason.
So if I judge all the English people based on the behavior of Tommy Robinson, would that be valid?
No, but if you right, okay, so listen. So let's say a bunch of English people go into some other,
the football hooligans.
Sure.
Would I judge all the English people like that? Would that be fair?
Let me finish, right? So if a bunch of English people come into a country, right, and like let's say the majority are peaceful people and they're doing okay, and they keep sticking to their own English cultural practices, okay, but a very large minority are acting in a way that the native population in this country find to be unpleasant, okay. So for example, if you look at surveys where Muslims are polled and you find that anywhere between 1 in 8 and 1 in 4 Muslims agree that violent jihad is sometimes justified against the native population. Okay,
which poll is that? Go me.
Let me. Okay.
Most likely by Prevent or something like that.
Prevent. wait, I've been threatened that Prevent will come for me.
Sorry, you are?
I've had my former school said, oh, we're going to have to get Prevent involved against you. So I'm no fan of Prevent,
All right. No, because some of the statistics that they produced were largely actually popularized by these right-wing clubs or whatever they call it. Parties. Yes.
Do you think that Quilliam is right-wing?
No, Killiam, we Muslims, we do not recognize them as authority
I know you
or
don't.
speak on behalf of the Muslims.
This survey isn't from Quilliam, but I'm just wondering.
Whom is it from?
I don't know. I didn't come here prepared for it.
If the majority of the Muslims were thinking like that, that they should do violent jihad against, that's not even Islamic. We don't just declare jihad in the country that we live.
You're non-Islamic. They think you're wrong.
Who's there? Who is there?
The people who are saying that violent jihad can sometimes be justified.
Well, who are these people? I really want to know. Because if you're talking about people like, who was that guy?
How do I search?
Anjem Chaudhry.
Yeah, Anjem Chaudhry. Yes? Do you really think any of the, I would say majority of the Muslims here even know about him? They don't even know him.
No, they probably do know of him.
I'm saying majority probably don't know him
Do you reckon?
because they, and the majority who do know him, they are against him. Why nobody supports him?
No, I agree with you. Most of them
Yes.
are against him. I grant that. If I actually do.
So why would you?
I commend Ali Dawa and his lot for going for sticking up, against standing up to Anjem Chaudhry and his hooligans who come.
None of the Muslims I know stick up for him. None of them. In fact, all of them that I know are against him. Because what I see is that Anjem Chaudhry and Tommy Robinson are basically just the two sides of the same coin. Yes, one is basically playing to his extremist ideas, and the other is playing to the far right extremist ideas.
Oh, I'm sorry, Hashim, I don't have internet. So
Yeah, I thought
can't
so.
back up my case.
Anyway, no
Awesome.
problem.
Okay, no, you know what? No, where's this video going to be posted? I agree this looks bad. I'll put the study in the comments.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah, there's something somewhere.
All right,
Just
anyway.
let me know and
8 channels.
the study will be there. Okay?
What is it, Jacob?
Yeah.
Jacob. All right, nice speaking to you, Jacob.
Yeah, likewise.
I need to go to pray
I'm
because
sorry
time for
to not give
Maghrib.
you my study.
That's fine, no problem. I just want you to read before you become anti anything.
course.
Just read
I
the
agree.
sources which that particular religion or that ideology promotes, basically.
I agree.
Because if you
I extend the same request to you and recommend you read some of the sayings of Odin.
about who?
Fox News. Lying cunts.
What about that goes for any,
Except Tucker Carlson. He's
for
alright.
anything. Yeah. Anyway, read the primary sources if you got a chance.
Yeah.
Have you got a copy of the Quran?
I do actually.
I can give you a free one if you want.
I got it. In fact, my copy. I asked Mohammed Hijab and I said it's been translated.
Don't let
by
it collect
Abdul
dust.
Hadid.
Make sure you read it.
Yeah, no, I honestly, it's on my list. I've been in university. I've had loads of.
Because
other
next
shit
time
to
you
read.
come, it's going to be a test.
Oh, a
10
test,
questions.
Really? Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
from
yeah.
what you read.
No promises. No promises. Yeah.
All right, anyway.
All right, thank you.
Nice speaking to you, coronavirus and all that.
Coronavirus, of course.
You know?
The elbow thing. The elbow thing.
No, same thing is contact.
Yeah, no
The
problem.
whole idea is to not spread it by contact.
Yeah,
That's what we
sure.
should promote for the good of everyone. Okay, anyway,
Thank you.
thanks a lot for
Cheers.
your time, Jake.